Better get your microphone up.
Well, I'm not going to Okay, we're going to get started now. So if everybody can take their seat, come up close so you don't miss anything. Gwen's got some wonderful things to show you. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. I'm excited to see them too.
Are these going to be videoed?
Everybody's trying to video.
I mean, will it be on the...
Yes, it will. I don't know how soon, but it'll be on. Yeah. So all of the videos will be, there will be a link on the screen at the, well, not down here. I don't know where Bill is. I guess he's not here. I'll ask him if he can put it up here. I'm not sure. But I'll have him put it up in the sanctuary, so we'll be down here the rest of the day. And so when we go upstairs, you can go upstairs and then take a picture with your phone or write down the links to go to watch the videos. I tried just going to YouTube this morning, and all I could find was one video, and I know there's a whole bunch more.
The guy that was running this said she showed me a bunch of them on there. So there's some more up there.
Yeah, but she's saying we have to get to it.
Yeah, there's the links. Just YouTube didn't compare, so I just pulled up one.
It said Hayden Lakes SDA. That's it.
Well, I tried that too, and I didn't find it.
He showed me.
Yeah, okay, so
Old school, I know.
anyway, so we'll get those links for you. Okay, so anybody have any questions?
Blessing this afternoon, knowing your presence is here, and as we learn, we thank you that you're the master teacher working through these instructors.
Poin, Hydrotherapy. How's everybody today?
Fine.
Good. Me too. Say it. Can you hear me okay?
No,
No? Really?
in the marsh.
Okay, so first we're going to talk about hydrotherapy.
You may have to have that other microphone when you run for this. That's just for my camera.
What's that?
That's just for my camera. That's not for the.
I know, they went out to get something for audio and they said they may not be able to
Oh, there it
record
is.
it. Okay. I can for a minute, a hot minute.
You should
But
have
I'll
a
have a
stand.
whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so first, my books. Where's my books? Oh, they're over here. First, we're going to talk about hydrotherapy. This is my favorite book on hydrotherapy. It's called, it's by, how many of you remember Clarence Thomas? Yeah, lots of you. He was an expert with hydrotherapy. I wanted to go to his school, but I didn't and I couldn't. So I practiced, like I said, on my family and everybody who would allow me to do a hydrotherapy treatment on them. That's how I learned. So if I can learn, you can learn. Amen? Okay. So Ellen White says that when we have treatment rooms, and we're following the counsel that was given to her, because even in our restaurants, we are to have treatment centers. And those treatment centers, we're not taking the place of doctors, we're medical missionaries. And medical missionaries have a higher calling, did you know that? medical profession. Because the medical profession only uses drugs. And you only have, if you look in the book Medical Ministry, you will find all of these statements. So, the medical missionary is to reform the medical missionary, the medical profession, and teach the doctors how to heal disease naturally. That's what we were called to do. Did you know that? We were supposed to teach the world how to live, how to eat and drink and dress and work, and how to take care of people when they get sick naturally. We are not to use drugs. Is there a place for drugs? Yes, it is. But most of the time, almost everything, I tell you, I raised my 3 children without drugs. And when they got sick, we did hydrotherapy and we did charcoal. And I told you some of those examples. And first of all, where's Beth? Come on, Beth. I'm going to start with this because this will really get your attention. Just lie down. I asked my son recently, do you remember when you had a temperature that went off the thermometer? And Daddy and I were taking care of it. He said, sort of, yes. He said, I was really delirious. He said, I thought I was dying. And I remember he was on the floor on a little pallet that we made for him. And no matter how high the temperature is, you can get it down, just the way I'm going to show you now. And most of the time, the temperature is a result of eating things that you shouldn't eat. And just being constipated. Okay? So, we had my son on the living room floor, a little bed made for him. We covered him up. We took this little bag here. Anybody know what this is?
It's full of beans.
No, rice.
Oh, right.
And how many of you sew? You make a lot of money with these. I'll take it apart right quick. If you make a little pocket like this, I would buy them from you to sell to medical missionaries. Because I don't know where I can get these anymore. But this is a bag filled with rice. And you know what? Can you pass this around real quick? Let people feel the moisture that came out. You put it in a microwave, but it was wetter than that just a few minutes ago. You put it in the microwave, and all that moisture comes out. Now, nothing will heal, pardon me, nothing will heal with dry heat. You have to have moist heat. So where do you get moist heat from? You get it from these rice bags. So what I did was, you don't mind me. Okay, hold on here. This is gonna feel good.
So do you do anything, like what kind of rice is in the bag?
Just rice.
Just white rice?
Doesn't matter, white, brown, red,
And you
blue.
don't do anything else to it?
Nope.
How do you eat it?
You put it in the microwave
Oh,
for
right.
3 to 5 minutes.
And
Depending
that's
on- I would think, the lady I watched, doesn't that feel good?
What if you don't have a microwave?
You can get one at the thrift shop for little or nothing. I sent all mine to the thrift shop. And that's because the house I lived in Orange County had one built in. Rather than get rid of it, I used it for treatments. Only for treatments. Because it destroys all the nutrients in your food.
And you can
And the
use it
food is dead when you eat it from the microwave.
That's right.
So you might as well throw it away because it's creating a very toxic, condition in your system. Okay, so what we did was we put this, oh, I forgot something. Okay, you're gonna have to get unwrapped. This is called a wet sheet pack. Okay, so if you just raise up a little bit, and I'm gonna put your, oh, no. This is one of my favorite treatments. The reason why it was favorite, because the cancer clients, when they came to the Lifestyle Center, they would get in here and they'd feel so good afterward. The pain, the sheets sometimes were discolored from pulling out the poisons. And also, when They couldn't sleep because of pain sometimes, discomfort. Okay, I guess you're gonna have to get up, I'm sorry, I was trying to do this. If you roll on one side, you can do it. Yeah. Okay, now roll over to this side. Okay. Okay, so this is what we, now you can lie down. Thank you, Dad. So this is what we had my son looking like on the floor of the living room. He had a pillow under his head, and we put heat to his feet, and this was a cold sheet dipped in ice water. And we had to hurry up and do it, because you don't want the person to chill. So this doesn't go up here on your head, it goes around, and then you take the arms and you wrap them. So every part of the body, the wet sheet is touching. Okay?
Do you undress them to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not totally undressed. They may have on undergarments. They may have on, undergarments, a bathing suit, but nothing that will interfere with the poultice, right? So, and then we piled him up with blankets to just pretend like this is a blanket.
Is that wet also?
Okay, huh?
Is that one wet also?
No, these are blankets. The only thing is wet. Now, in your hydrotherapy book, did you feel the moisture in that?
It's hard to tell, it dried out fast.
Okay, well, you can still feel it in here. Wow, it's really moist. Okay, so I'm going to go through these real quick, but I'm going to give you my favorite ones because we don't have time. Does anybody have a clock? I have a watch, but what time?
45.
Okay, I don't know what time I'm supposed to stop.
Just keep going.
This is important. This is important.
Okay, I really appreciate you doing this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is show you the, I wish you had your books. I ordered these books a month ago, and they're still not here. So everybody pray they'll be here by tomorrow or Tuesday before this class is over. So I sometimes call this cold, wet sheet pack.
Okay.
A lot of times it's just called wet sheet pack. Okay? Now, this is one of my favorite treatments. I've given myself one. You sleep so good. That's the best part of this. The cancer clients would be miserable, but by the time they get wrapped in, it's just the idea of a cold sheet. But once you get in it, it feels so good. Your body warms it up. If any of you are having trouble with insomnia, I will give you the what this is for. It's for to regulate heating and cooling evaporation of the body. It's for fevers. It's to quiet the nerves. It's for insomnia. It relieves intestinal congestion. But my son had a fever that was off the chart, the thermometer. And it just went up right to the top, and then it couldn't go anymore. And so we refused to take him. The reason why we refused to take him to the emergency room, we weren't trying to be stubborn, because my daughter was 13 days old when she got a fever. And I panicked, because she was my first child. And I said, oh, we have to take her to the hospital. And we took her to the hospital, to emergency, and they kept us there a long time. They kept running around. We'll be right back. And then finally they said, oh, well, we'll just give her a Tylenol.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, why did I come here in the first place? I already knew what to do, but I panicked thinking I would do the wrong thing. Have you ever done that? You think, oh no, I can't do this. If something happens to my baby, then what? No, I took my child home, and I did a slightly different treatment with her. I put her in a little warm bath. Then I took, this is what you call a mitt or mitten. One faded, but it still works the same. I took this and you just dried her as quickly as I made her body warm, and then I did a little cool. Because with babies or small children, you don't want to do hot and cold. You want to do warm and cool. And it still works the same. And always, if you can, relieve the bowels. Because people get constipated, and when they can't go, they are miserable. And they think and they have no appetite. And they think something's wrong in here. And really, the only thing that's wrong is they need to go to the bathroom. Because they haven't been for 2 days or 3 days. Or if they went every day, it wasn't the amount that should have come out. So there's lots of information in the health manual if you want to read about that, how you empty the bowels. Because a system that is clogged is miserable. Totally miserable. Sister Michelle, that comes here to the Newport Church, you all know her, and Wendell, that were accepted on Profession of Faith recently. Brother Will and I were giving her carrot juice, and she got so much better. She was so miserable. And Rick says, why don't we give her some Swiss Chris? Swiss Chris is a little jar like this that will empty the bowels, taking 2 capsules every night for just a few nights. And I have herbal fiber blend that I give to people. But if that doesn't work, the Swiss Chris will. It is a laxative. The herbal fiber blend is a colon cleanser. And there's a difference between a cleanser and a laxative. A laxative just opens you up. A cleanser will go, your ascending, transverse, descending colon, will go way up here in these pockets and pull down things that have been there for years, maybe 10 years. How do you know? By the smell, by the texture. You will see parasites. In fact, they call it black rope. And it's just like a black pipe. You can't break it. And it's sitting in there, that is what causes cancer. Did you see the photograph of a colon and how it was so plugged in the manual? People don't even realize that they're not going the way they should. When I first heard about herbal fiber blend, I used it for 6 months straight before I started doing anything else. That was a detox, a thorough detox. So, getting back to the fever. What we did was we put a cold towel on the head, and then we asked my son, how's that feel? He said it feels good. And then we asked him, well, how does it feel now? He said, that feels better. So, it just depends on the person, which way they like it. But this is basically all we did. The wet sheet pack, keeping the feet warm, cold towel to the head. Why is the cold towel at the head?
Keep the blood from congesting in the head.
Yeah, keep the blood from congesting in the head. And
How long did you do it for?
it was several hours. Several hours, because we would get it down and it would go back up. And we'd get it down and it would go back up. And periodically we would rub him and rub him with cold mitten friction with these little things here, or washcloth will do, or those little hand gloves that you put on. We dip it in cold water. We have even used a bag of vegetables out of the freezer. I did some treatments, just last year for a brother that was sick. And he didn't have anything and we didn't bring anything. We took vegetables out of the freezer, put them in a plastic bag. You know who it is. And we rubbed them on him. The brother got well. So this is the best way to bring a fever down.
Is that supposed to be a warm blanket over the cold? Or is that?
This is a warm blanket.
That's
yes.
a warm blanket.
That's a warm blanket. This is the cold sheet pack.
And how often do you change that sheet?
You don't change the sheet. But this sheet, by the way, as I said, will be discolored. It will also get hot. It will get hot because it's pulling the heat from the body. But it's also pulling the toxins. Okay? Yes.
And you pray before you do it, right?
Thank you, sister. You're a real medical missionary.
Well-
You pray before every treatment. Because God does the healing. We're just instruments in His hand.
And someone said, and I don't know if this is for everything, but someone said that you should drink 2 glasses of water before any treatment. Have you heard that?
Yes, I have.
Is that true?
Before saunas, we had a sauna. You had to drink peppermint tea or lemon tea before the sauna. By the way, You all could detox at home. They have saunas now. I'll show you how to make a Russian steam sauna. But the ones they have on the web, on the internet,
All those little ones you sit in?
yes,
Okay.
they're like plastic. I used to have a few of them. I gave them all away though. And I sold the big one, which is called the Sonex. That one is amazing. But it's an infrared deep tissue sauna. And what it does is just heats up the body so it sweats. Because how many of you exercise enough that you sweat every day? Most of us don't. But that is the purpose of the exercise, to sweat. Why? Because you're detoxing every day. You would have a beautiful skin color and complexion. You would have more energy. After a good night's sleep with this, you are ready to go. So, now I'm gonna stay right there, Thea. Where's my buckets? Okay, so that's a wet sheet pack. But my favorite one,
Buckets right there.
my favorite one is the hot foot bath because it's so simple. You can use this for lung congestion. You can use it for headaches. You can use it for menstrual cramps. You can use it for, what else?
Headache.
Pelvic headache. I didn't say headache. Pelvic congestion. And this I have used for so many things. Oh, edema. There was one lady who was going to church, and she said, that was when we lived in New York. She said, okay, can I get a chair right there? We're gonna put this right here. Now, this is for hot water, and this is for cold. And so, she said, my ankles just won't stop swelling up. The doctor gave me this stuff that I have to take that's so expensive, and she said, tell me, do you know anything about how I can get this edema down? I said, sure. Just do hot and cold, a hot foot bath, not just the hot and cold. This one, I'm sorry, this one is called something else. Could you check the paraffin to see how the paraffin is coming? Okay, so in the hydrotherapy book, the first one I told you about was the wet sheet pack. And I'm not going to do these in order because I don't have time to tell you about 14 different hydrotherapy treatments. But the hot foot bath is for, as I said, it's also for insomnia. Yes, it's very good for insomnia. Okay, so you put your feet in here, and then you put them in there. And you put your feet in here, and you put them in there. You put them here, and you put them 3 times.
For how long?
3 minutes hot, 1 minute cold. That's just, but you can go a little bit longer on the hot if you want. And some books do 30 seconds cold. I like to do 3 or 4 or 5 in the hot and 1 minute in the cold. That works for me.
As cold as you can stand it, or?
Yes, it doesn't have to be like hot where it's burning you. Just, and you have a picture ready so that when it warms up, you pour some more hot in and you take some warm out. And you can always put more in here as well for the cold. It works so fast. And the reason it works for a headache, for all these things, for congestion, is because the hot is pulling. Oh, by the way, you always have, can I borrow this, please? You always have to have something cold on the head, like this, because you don't want the person to faint. I did this with one lady. She was a big lady, too. I was doing an enema with her. She was so into these treatments. And we were in the bathroom, and all of a sudden, that lady plopped on the floor. And I panicked, because she was like kind of big, and she slid on the floor, and she went down like that. I said, oh, Lord, I pray, hope she didn't break something or hurt something. And I just prayed, and I grabbed. What would you do if somebody fainted like that? Pray.
Protect their head as they're going down.
Or go, no, that's not what you do, Joan. You don't call 911. You don't ever do that. They'll say, what are you doing here? They're going to lock you up. No, you get a cold towel. put it all on her face. And guess what?
Give her water.
Yeah. No, I don't give her no water yet. She's not ready to drink anything yet. She's just coming to. And I just keep putting the cold water on her. Pretty soon, she's feeling good. So I said, are you all right? She says, oh, yes, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm sorry. Anyway, so this is a hot foot bath. That sister, she started doing this morning and night. Morning and night. By the next Sabbath, when we were ready to pick her up, oh boy. Is it all right if I drop this or?
Yeah, be honest, it's still working.
Should I put it back on?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so by the next Sabbath, her demon was totally gone.
Can you
And
watch
as
this
long-
camera?
As long as
You just want to make
she
sure that
kept doing that, it
she's
was
in
down.
the
She didn't have to
view,
go
so you
back to the
probably want to
doctor.
stand right here and kind of,
So,
it's kind of
do
awkward.
these treatments
Come right
work?
over.
Every time. Do you know when they had the 1918 flu? The Adventists
So
were the
just
people
try to
that were
keep her
keeping
in
everybody
the
alive.
shot.
And the story that I read, hardly anyone died. And I think it was almost, has anybody else read these stories?
Except for the guy who ministered it.
Huh?
The guy who ministered it died because he caught it and
Oh, he caught it, okay.
he passed
But
away.
I know that the numbers were so low.
Yeah.
They amazed everybody. And what did they do? Hydrotherapy and charcoal.
And rest.
And rest. And
sunshine.
health, okay. Okay, we can keep going. They did all the 8 laws of health.
Yes.
Okay, so, now, I have several ways of increasing the circulation of the blood and building the immune system at the same time. And it's using hot and cold. You can do this every day. In fact, if you don't want to get sick, take a hot and cold shower every day and eat 1 or 2 cloves of garlic every day. Watch it if you have low blood sugar, low blood pressure, because it might take it down too low. But what you're doing is building your immunity.
Amen.
So you can do a hot and cold shower. I remember one time my husband and I were on a speaking engagement on the West Coast. We were coming from the East Coast. We had 13 appointments, one right after the other. And I don't know why all these schools and churches called us at the same time, but they did, or in a close proximity, so we just lined them all up. By the time I got to the last one, I couldn't talk. I had laryngitis. The first time I only remember as an adult having laryngitis. And I would stand and talk, and somebody would hold the microphone real close like this, because I had to whisper like this in order for them to hear me. But the thing that did the best for me was the warm bath. It's called a neutral bath in here. And what Sister Brown did for me is put me in a warm tub of water. She gradually ran out the warm water and put in cold. But it was warm, it was causing me to sweat. It made me feel vitalized. My fever went away after the treatment. It was just a warm tub. Gradually, I stayed in for 20 minutes, and then she started running in the cold. That's what is called in here as the neutral bath. So, she ran out the cold, and then she rubbed me down real, like in here, it's a cold mitten friction. That was the next thing I was going to tell you about. This will help anybody that doesn't feel well for any reason feel better, because you're increasing the circulation of their body, okay? And you can do it for yourself. And the other thing is called a salt glow. The salt glow is taking some coarse salt and just wet it just a little. Not a lot, so you dissolve the salt, but just a little bit, and you put it in a little basin. I use it every time, because the place where I'm staying, they have a sauna. And when I come out, I take the salt and rub it on my skin, my limbs first, then the torso, and sometimes I lightly do it on my face. Your skin feels like silk. Silk. And your blood, you can feel and see that it has come to the surface. your circulation is good, you're very much alert, and you feel 100% better. Okay? Now, let me tell you about a few more.
Do you use Epsom salt ever?
I do use Epsom salt. Epsom salt is very good for so many things. But, I'm sorry?
Cramping.
Cramping, yes, it's good for that, but it's also good for, detoxifying the body, because it brings out the toxins, and it's also good for sore muscles. So, it took me a while to get used to that though, because I didn't like the fact that that kind of salt was going through my pores, because you know, your skin is your largest organ, and everything you put on the skin, make sure you read, those of you who have a health manual, the section that says, stop, we're killing ourselves, is written by a physician who says all the lotions that we put that are filled with parabens, sodium lauryl sulfate, etc., especially shampoos as well, within less than a couple of hours, guess what? It's right on your brain. All those toxins. Charlotte Gerson, you know who Charlotte Gerson is? Some of you do. Her father established the Gerson method of healing. She says in her book that when you use shampoos or conditioners, and that's why I only use organic ones, that have all of these chemicals in it, within less than an hour, she says even 15 minutes, I don't know, but she says those toxins are on your female or male organs, yes. And so you do not want, toxins collecting there. So make sure you have pure ingredients. And a lot of us probably wash our hair. Well, it depends on who you are. Could you check and see if the paraben is not ready? Oh boy. I was gonna let some of you stick your hand in the paraben bath. You know what that is? Okay. So we used to do that in the lifestyle center. I want you to try it first, Mona Lisa. Okay. So, because I know she has trouble sometimes with, her fingers. Okay. So, what else do I want to do with you? Local, how you doing? Good? Okay, just stay right there because I'm going to use you again. Okay, my father had a stroke. And he could not, on one side he was totally, he was totally like dragging like this. So I said, Dad, this is after I first speak, because he was a pastor, a Methodist pastor. You want to go to UG Pines? That's the Seventh-day Adventist place. He said, nope, I'm not going. So I kept saying, Daddy, if you go, you really like it. He says, well, if you pay for it, I will. I said, okay, I will. And so he went. After a week there, I called him and said, Daddy, how you doing? You know what he said? This is the closest place to heaven on earth. And he never became a Seventh-day Adventist, but my mom did. And my mom passed. And then that still left me. I'm still the only Seventh-day Adventist in my family. That's all right. I have plenty of family. I'm not worried. So what happened when my father was in the hospital, I took him and put him in a tub. He let me do it. I mean, he had on, briefs, and he had on an undershirt. And that's the way you should do. Actually, we are counseled, the men should take care of the men, and the women. Because. You know why, right? Amen? Okay.
It's more than physical, it's also mental and emotional.
It is. Thank you, Jane. And so, but, I'm not going to let my father suffer. So he was doing so much better. I did the hot and the cold. He took the treatment well. When he came home, he could move his hand. I said, Daddy, come here to the sink. This was amazing. Because he had no confidence in it, but he had confidence in me. And I prayed. I said, Lord, please help this treatment. I put his hand in the sink, and then I put hot water and just let it sit there. I tested it first. You always test the water first. Then I put cold, and I had some little ice there that I would make it extra cold. When I got through just going back 3 or 4 times, he could move his hands, he could move his fingers. Why?
Circulation.
He got circulation. What does LMI say in Ministry of Healing?
Perfect health.
Perfect health requires perfect circulation. Now, how do you know if you have imperfect circulation? If you're not exercising, if you're not going down like this and coming up, and going like this and coming up, and going like this and coming up, you don't have perfect circulation. That's why you have pain in the knees. You just need a little more blood there. Right, Joe? Okay, so what I'm saying to each one of you is you have to walk every day, do a little bit. Where's my jump rope? If I didn't have these shoes on, I'd jump some rope and tell y'all to join me. I love to jump rope. This is how I stay agile. I mean, I don't want to grow old. Does anybody here want to grow old? No. I don't think I'm weird. Nobody wants to grow old. And so God has given Seventh-day Adventists the way you can stay young. In fact, I have a mini rebounder and a treadmill where I'm staying. I take it with me wherever I go. And I get on the rebounder at night. When you get on that rebounder for just 5 minutes, do you know what a rebounder is, everybody? You get on that little rebounder, right, Grace? And it makes your face look so beautiful the next day. You look like you had a $100 facial. And in the morning, why? Because your blood is circulating. It even helps your eyesight. Where's Jean? Where's Jean? Is Jean here? Did you know that? Yeah, getting on the rebounder every day helps you. Because your eyes have the same problem that your ankles have. And if you have swollen ankles, you better get those ankles down. You know? How do you get them down?
Hot and cold.
Hot and cold. What else? Walking.
Drinking lots of water.
Drinking water. And you know, sometimes when I'm in the bed, I just take this old foot and move it around like that. While I'm in the bed, I keep moving. If I'm standing like this, I make sure I'm doing this. And I shake my leg, do like this. If something gets kink, I hit it. That brings circulation. It does. I mean, don't hit yourself too hard. Some of you might be more tender than I am. But I'm pretty tough. My mom used to comb my hair and jerk it. And if I, complain, she'd hit me on the head with the comb.
So great circulation.
Great circulation. Okay, so let's get back to, I'm trying to give you some stories. My brother, who just passed a couple of months ago, he had prostate cancer, and he was pre-diabetic. And he said to me later, if I had only stayed on the diet and did what you told me to do, I wouldn't be in the condition that I'm in. Okay, so, it's 6:05. Oh, no. Okay, so, I'm going to tell you this one. My brother came in, he almost fell in the door. He said, Gwen, I have this pain. He would say, my stomach is hurting. He was like a few years younger than me. And he would say, my stomach is hurting. And he went to Kaiser. He had insurance there. They gave him every test in the world. They couldn't figure out what was hurting him. And I said, well, where is it? He said, somewhere around in here. And so he says, well, I figured it's Kathy and my anniversary, and we really want to go on a cruise. Mm-hmm. But he says, I can't go with this pain. And he said, so either I'm going to die, I'm going to go to the hospital, or I'm coming to you. But I chose to come to you. Mm. His wife was a holiness, a first day person. She did not want him to come. He came anyway. First thing, my husband and I conferred with each other. We put him on our massage table in our massage room in our lifestyle center in California. Just like this. What we did was, we knew the pain was here, but where it was coming from, I don't know, but it was here. So what we did was do hot and cold, hot 3 times.
On the stomach?
It covered this whole area. Hold on. These are some hydrotherapy pads.
Where do you get them?
These were given to me, and I gave away all of them except just a few.
Dr.
Because-
Poin used to sign down.
You can?
Yes.
Okay.
From where?
I had,
Online.
Joan, your sister gave me these. And I kept the best ones because I didn't know if the other people were gonna use them. This is another one that was made from a lady in Canada, and I sold every one that I had 25 of these. And I sold every one
What's it
except,
made out of?
this is made out of 100% cotton. And you could do this, Jane. You
If I
sew.
know what's in it.
Yeah, it's a little rug. And she cuts it to the size. This is a little small.
Yeah.
See, but I use them anyway. And this is a little big for, this is what you call a cold compress or a neck or throat compress. You put this around your neck. Some people use socks. And let's see here. Some people use, where is the, oh, here's one. This is cotton with a wool protecting cover. And you take this and you make it ice cold and you like this and pin it right there if you have a sore throat. You put it on ice cold, your body warms it up. By morning, what happens? Irritation is gone. It's absolutely gone. It's really amazing. Now here is another one. This one is a one I had from a long time ago. I actually sold this to Grace and then borrowed it again because I sold all the others. But this is the wool, 100% wool protective covering, and this was the neck and throat compress. And you put it just like this. Put the cold, and you pin it on, and then put this over it and pin it. Okay? So this works super duper. You can take a sock for any kind of sore throat, laryngitis, yes. Cough, yes, Kathy. Keep going. Okay, so the other thing is, oh, I see. Joan, I got these from your house. You threw them in the trash. This is, remember these?
Yeah.
Guess what I use these for? I put this underneath the wet sheet pad. Now you can use, because it keeps the bed dry, the pad dry, or whatever. Or you can use, I had a big black garbage bag, but I like these because yeah, they're like, maybe you get them in thrift shops, but these are very valuable for hydrotherapy. So I have 3 of them here that I picked out of the trash basket. Do you want one back, Joe? Okay. So let me tell you right quick. The paraffin is ready. Okay, we need that box of gloves. Okay, this is the protective. So I'm going to tell you what I did with my brother. Here's another one. Okay, let's use this one. What I did was I put your hands please down to your side. Yes. There, please, thank you. And I put it right here. Then it's hot. Now I'm going to tell you how you heat these up. You can use a towel. You have the hot water on the stove. It's boiling. This is the old-fashioned way. You take this towel at opposite ends and you twist it. You can twist it by yourself or you can twist it with somebody else. But you twist it up real tight and then you take it and you dip it in the hot water. This is the way I used to do it. Now, what way do they do it now?
Microwave.
Microwave. They also take a pot, put a rack in here and steam it. Okay? So you take it out, and then you take the ends, twist it a little more, and then you like this real quick. And my hands take a lot of heat. I put this on like this. But before you do that, you might want to, and this is why we have so many towels, because you want to, actually I got so many layers on me. You can use this hot pad, or you can use a towel.
Is it damp when you put it in the microwave?
Yes, this one I put in the hot water. This one I would put in a plastic bag and put in the microwave for 3 to 6 minutes. This one is pretty thick, so I would do this one probably 4 or 5
The
minutes.
twisted one, you won't put that one.
You don't have to twist it if you put it in the microwave. So,
It needs to be damp.
Needs to be
Yeah.
moist before you put it in.
just moist.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, oh, definitely.
That's what I was
I didn't
asking.
say that, I'm sorry. Okay, yes, I wet it. So, it's not dripping, but it's nice and wet. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, it's ready to go. So this is what we did. We did hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. What did we do for cold? We ran some ice over his chest. By the time we got to the third one, he was falling asleep. He was really trying his best, thank you, trying his best to stay awake. And you know, the beautiful part is, after that, we put a charcoal poultice on him. I've got to do the charcoal poultices. And the pain. It's almost 6:50. Okay, this is the last hydrotherapy one. Now switch over there. Okay, so, by the time I got to the charcoal poultice, he was asleep. He did not wake up until 6 hours later. And when he woke up, I had made a charcoal poultice for him to take with him. He never used it. He went on the cruise, and it lasted him almost 6 months. The pain did not come back. Now, I've got to tell you about the asthma. I've got to tell you about this one. Because this one, how many of you know Anna from CFC? Anna? Anna? What's Anna's last name? Grace? Lariel. I was sitting next to her in church at Central Filipino one day, and she was really, I can't even do it. But she sounded like a motor running. I said, wow, this sister needs some hydrotherapy. And I said, Lord, do I have time for this? You know, that's the question you ask. Do you have time for this? But a medical missionary always has time to help somebody else, right? So I said to her, would you like to come to my home for some treatment? Because I can tell you're having trouble breathing. She said, sure. So Anna came, this is when we moved out of the lifestyle center into a little apartment. We were on our way up to Idaho, Washington. And what I did with her first was I put her in a portable sauna. When she came out of there, I did hot and cold on her chest. And when she came out of there, I put her under, this is called in this book, tent inhalation. Any kind of breathing or respiratory problem, it will take it away. So, what I did was put an umbrella here. Let's say we're doing this. And remember the 2 little Filipino ladies I told you about? This is what I did with them to help them more than anything. And we put peppermint oil in there. I put peppermint oil in there. Anna she would put her head down here and she'd go, take a deep breath. The peppermint was in the boiling water. And what I did was, I don't know how this is crude, but this was over her and over the umbrella. So I opened it up all the way. I had a blanket so that it wouldn't escape. She was underneath. Do you know, she said the same thing. It lasted me about 6 months. Huh?
How long did you do it? 20 minutes?
Huh?
How long did she do that for?
I would say maybe 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Because after a while, that peppermint goes up in your nose. You just feel so relieved. And then what do we do next? She did exercise. We went for a walk. And we did deep breathing exercises. In your manual is deep breathing exercises. Could you get a pot of hot water? Now, I want to tell you about pain. Okay. I want to tell you about pain. So there are 14 different hydrotherapy treatments in here, and in the back is charcoal. This is in the hydrotherapy book. In the charcoal book, in the back is hydrotherapy, because they go together. So these 2 books are, you need to study them, know what's in them, know how to find them. Do we have that handout for them today? Do we have that handout? Okay, can we get it and pass it out to them? because we're gonna go to the charcoal and, the hot water, and then the police, huh? Yes, ma'am, I forget talking. I forget while I'm talking.
Can we make copies of the handouts to share
Yeah,
with other
she's gonna
people?
bring them to you
No,
right now.
With other people, though, can we make copies?
Of course, you're a medical missionary. You paid for this. Well, sorta, kinda.
Gwen,
Okay,
you need to move the cord before you triple behind you.
I do.
Oh,
Ma'am, thank you, Sheree. Okay, so, I'm gonna show you how, okay, if the charcoal doesn't work, you gotta write this down, I'm sorry, I didn't have time with all the rush and everything. If charcoal doesn't work and you don't have time, take these, you buy these in the health food store. They're called wool flannel. Oh, thank you, Linda. I just need, I can just pour it out. Okay, I hope you get this. You're recording this? Are you recording it? How will you get this later? I'm not sure. Okay.
Live streaming on Facebook right now.
I am? Whoa, have mercy. Okay. So, that's the way you can see it. I didn't know if they were getting it or not. Okay, so, I'm gonna talk to you about several things. I need a hammer. I couldn't find a hammer. I need something to beat this plantain. Because I'm going to tell you first what I use, the things that I use for pain. I use charcoal poultice, and I'm going to show you how to make a charcoal poultice. I use wool flannel pack. This is one that has been used. You should have your own, okay? I use this. Oh, my mind just went so. Do you know I got bit by a tick not less than a month ago? You know what I use? They wanted to give me, no, because I didn't want to take the time to make a charcoal poultice. And what I did was I put this hot pad, miracle pad, it's in your manual under miracle salve or PAD. I was dealing with a grandpa 25, 30 years ago. Now I'm dealing with a grandson and the son that took over Pruitt's tree resin. That's what it is.
What is that?
Pruitt's tree resin. They use ancient evergreen trees, thousands of years old, and they go on the inside and they get the pockets.
where do you get it?
The number is in the back of your manual. Where you get charcoal. Everything that I'm showing you is in your manual. Even how to make a charcoal poultice. Even how to do a castor oil pack, except the plantain. No, I didn't put that in because I wasn't convinced. Where's Christopher? I fell down in Christopher's yard. That was the only time I remember ever falling. That was last year when I was on my way to Maryland for a speaking engagement. And your mom had a plastic container there with a plant. I fell so hard, I broke your container. You know that, right? I never apologized. I'm sorry. But I broke it with my arm here. And this little missionary ran, and what did you bring me? Huh? No, he didn't. What did you bring me, Christopher?
Oh, cabbage.
Cabbage! But he just brought me a leaf to slap it on. And I said, oh, he didn't beat it. But I'm not going to complain because he gave me cabbage. And then I went to Grace's house after that, and I said, Jane, since I walked in the door, Jane, could you give me a hammer and a chopping block? And she got a hammer and a chopping block. Where's Jane? Oh, man, she's way back there. You remember that, Jane? And we beat the cabbage. This is not really it, but you need to beat the cabbage. What Christopher did was came and just smacked it right there. My arm was black and blue, and it was throbbing pain. I put that on there without even beating it, and guess what? It helped. But when I went to Grace's house, I beat it. I said, you have a hammer? And I took, just like that, with a hammer. See, I'm doing it with a knife. Until the juices ran, and it was more like crushed, beaten cabbage. And then I put it back. I put plastic over it, and I wrapped it with an ace bandage, and I kept it on for 3 days. I even spoke with it on Saturday.
Did you have to change the cabbage out?
No,
No?
I just kept it on for 3 days. When I took it off, my black and blue marks were gone. My hand was perfect, my arm was perfect, I could lift it, I could do this, I could do that. Nothing, no residual pain. I have a new respect for cabbage. I never told people about cabbage before. I read it in books, but I never tried it. Thank you, Christopher, for bringing me cabbage that day. This cabbage worked like a miracle. You can put it on your knee anywhere you have pain. It draws out the poison, and it does it fast. I got on the plane, I hardly had any pain, but I kept it on for 3 days because I was afraid to take it off. It was feeling so good. Okay, now,
Plantain.
plantain. And then I'm going to tell you about the charcoal and the castor oil plant. Okay, the plantain, I went to New York to do a cooking class. The lady said, oh, that was so good. But half the members weren't here. Could you do another one? I looked at her like, are you kidding? You know how much work that was? She had to go shopping after Sabbath at night. I said, you really want me to do this again? She said, yes. So I did it again. And when I got back, I was so tired. I don't even remember when I twisted my arm or something, but I couldn't even move it. I couldn't lift my arm up like this. It was in my wrist, really. The pain was severe. So what did I do first? I made a castor oil. I made a charcoal poultice. Secondly, I used every one of these, powerful for pain. In fact, when I used to do cooking classes, I would be answering questions afterward, and I'd say, Lord, help me to just stand on my feet until I get through with the last person. I refused to give up until I answered the last question. When I got home, I couldn't even walk. My pain was so bad in my back. No problem. Saturate this with warm castor oil. Don't burn your house down. I almost did with this. It's very flammable. So, castor oil. You have to heat it up slowly, very low heat. And saturate this with castor oil, and you put it on your, put it right, I used to put it right here, and I couldn't walk. Within less than a half an hour, the pain was gone. Less than a half an hour. Now, I covered this with plastic wrap, or with a garbage bag, or with those plastic bags you get from the grocery store, just anything to keep the moisture in. Then I take this, or thermofor, and put it on top. Take the pain away. Okay? Now, this is the, I need a fork, please.
Is that just made out of a flannel, that pack that you do the castor with?
Yes, this is flannel. You know what? This one is brand new, so it'd probably be better if you didn't touch that one. But if you want to touch this one, it's clean. It's just, you can see what, and you know what? I used to buy fabric. That's 18 by 11.
Is it wool?
In Joann's. It's in Joann's fabric store. Cut them into pieces because people had to pay $15 for them. And I only charged 10 when I bought it in Joann's and cut it myself. Thank you. And so, It's wool. It's 100% wool. It's not fake stuff. Does anybody here have any pain anywhere?
Somebody has knee.
Knee pain?
I have foot pain.
Where is she? Oh, we don't have to put that in.
He does.
He does?
Yes, yes. Here, this lady, some pain, or knee pain, double knee pain.
Wait a minute, he
She has
said it
some
right. Huh?
She has some pain.
You need to get rid of that. You can do hot and cold,
Linda.
wrap it up with charcoal, and you'll be good to go.
Linda back here has a knee
Come
injury.
on up. What kind of pain? Yeah, knee pain? Okay. No,
I can be dealt with it.
could you give me one more bowl? I want to take care of Brother Bill. Brother Bill's my friend. Another bowl and a fork. Yeah, we're gonna make two of
Just
these.
like this one.
Where's your pain system? Okay. I have done this many times, and before we can get out of the building, the pain is gone. Okay, so, which story was I telling you about? Oh, my wrist. My wrist. I tried charcoal, I tried castor oil pack. It didn't go away fast enough for me. So I said, I saw some planting across the street in the park where we used to walk. I went over there, and this is some nice looking planting. I took it, I got like 2 handfuls, put it in a plastic bag, and I came home and I put it on a chopping block, and I did the same thing I did with the cabbage. I beat it, just like this, till it ran and crushed the whole thing. And guess what? The next day, the pain was gone. The very next day. Is that good news or what? I'm serious. Do you see what, here, pass this around so you see what the plantain looks like? And we're gonna make this, where's the sister that wanted the, she meant to take a brace off. Oh, she did, okay. You have to be careful and this is, I usually get the big half-gallon or gallon. Okay, yeah. But you pour this, soak it in there, you put the warm, no, I'm not gonna do that one. I'm gonna make 2 charcoal poultices and we're gonna finish. And you all already know about the onion, right? On the ear. Okay, you know what, I just need a cup, Linda, please, because I don't want to pour too much in here. Okay. Okay, when you mix this together, you keep stirring it, charcoal and ground flaxseed. And it should be like a blob that kind of holds together. So I do half flaxseed and half charcoal. And I put the flaxseed in so it doesn't splash everywhere. I'm sorry we did not get to.
Is it already ground? Is it already ground?
Yes, it's already ground.
Do you ever blend it?
Yes, when I buy the whole ones. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so when you mix it, it should be like a blob if you're doing it with the hot water. So the thicker it is, the better it works. I don't like those little thin, stingy made poultices. And you, okay. Now, I read first many, many years ago in Hydrotherapy. You see how this is?
It's frosty.
It's like a big blob.
Frosty. Like frosty.
Frosty? Frosting. Oh, frosting, yes. I just call it a blob of charcoal. So you put it in here, and
You can use psyllium powder too, can't you?
you can even use cornstarch. Okay, and so, does that look like that's big enough? Yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna do this, and then we take this, and we pull it like this,
You need to go down.
and
Just a little bit.
what we do is
Yeah. This is going this way.
put this down, face down,
No, you're
on
right.
here.
It's up and down. Okay. And then this is side.
And then I do this, and this, and when this is warm, it will seal it just perfectly. But the water has cooled a little bit, so it's not as warm. And then we put this here. Where's your paint? Right here? Under. Yes. Is that warm? Yes. Okay, that's the best way. Now, okay? I tell you what, I'm gonna let you wrap that up if you don't mind, Kathy, and I'm gonna go to the next one. Okay, if this water were hot, like I said, when you put it, when you mix it and then put it onto the affected area and it's warm, it will seal right away. How big is yours?
Oh, the charcoal.
The area, The plastic will seal as long as the water is hot. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? Because the heat will cause it to close up. Why is that important? Because if you're going to bed with it, it will not open up. It will be perfectly sealed and it will not go all over the bed.
Can the charcoal work when it's sealed in plastic on there?
Oh, yes, that's where I'm telling you, that's where I got it from, Agatha Thrash. Yeah.
I just put paper towel down.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I never put the
I've been doing this for over 30 years. You know why? Because it doesn't spread and it doesn't get everywhere and it still works fast. Okay, is this half of this? Is this good for you?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going through this for you, Brother Bill. This is another one.
It's my heel and the side of my foot.
Okay,
Right, this, from all this.
you weren't here, Brother Bill, because it wasn't your fault. But you didn't hear the story. Did you all hear the story about my husband with plantar fasciitis?
No.
Oh, but I've had it. It's awful.
It is awful.
You told me yesterday.
Okay, well, this works. This is almost the same thing, unless you just have an inflammation in the heel, that's all. So, we're gonna put this down. Actually, I'm doing this backwards, because what I usually do is put this down, and then I put this on top. We don't need that. Then put this on top. And if it were hot, it would be like a nice little sealed pocket. The thicker, the better it works. So, you take this, like this, and you see, you seal it with it being hot, and it goes like that, but this is not hot. And then you put this on your heel. That's it. Okay. Okay, any questions about anything?
So how does the charcoal get through the plastic?
The plastic is porous. It has no problem with it. Do you know charcoal is so powerful?
So,
It's just remarkable. When you get this book, do you have this book? Most of you have this book.
Yeah.
So you have, where's my handout? Because, you know, when I gave Kathy this book, she says, Gwen, you need to go through this whole book and write down where everybody can find. I said, oh, come on, won't work. She said, yes, they won't be able to find everything. So that's what I did. I went through the whole book and told you where to find everything. So this is invaluable. If you have any kind of symptom or anything, you can find it quickly. It's all in this book and more and more and more. Any questions?
Stay by the microphone.
It's porous. The plastic is porous. And the charcoal is very powerful. Very powerful. Anybody else? Another question?
Do you use French green clay for poultices?
I don't use French green clay. I've used it several times on my face. Clay is good for any kind of skin condition. But what I do, I have a whole bucket, well, half a bucket, maybe two-thirds of a bucket of white clay. If you get any kind of clay and you can get a good deal, get it. It works just like charcoal. It will pull the pain out of your skin. White clay, I've had that bucket for 30 years or more. And I just use it for pain, for skin conditions. You can do a facial with it. You know, whatever you use clay for, the clays are interchangeable. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to rush So, what are we doing now?
Well, we're taking a break, and as you take a break, as you go through the kitchen, there should be some drinks set up. Everybody can have a drink. It's the avocado smoothie
Okay,
for tonight.
okay.
So, and if you wouldn't mind, bring them down here and put them in the garbage.
Okay.
And of course, we're staying down here for the next presentation.
Oh, we are?
So, we'll be down here, so that's it.
Okay.
So, enjoy. Thank you.
You got to stay here.